Good morning. This is Pastor Jeff, and this is our readings for Monday, April 26, 2021. And as always, there are 3 readings for today. Our psalm reading today is going to be Psalm 95. Our Old Testament reading is going to be 1 Samuel chapter 16. And then our New Testament reading is going to come from 1 Peter chapter 5. Let us hear the scriptures for the day. First is our psalm reading, which is Psalms 95. Come, let's shout praises to God. Raise the roof for the rock who saved us. Let's march in his presence, singing praises, lifting the rafters with our hymns. And why? Because God is the best, high king over all the gods. In one hand, he holds the deep caves and caverns. In the other hand, grasps the high mountains. He made oceans, he owns it, his hands sculpted earth. So come, let us worship before him, on your knees before God, who made us. Oh yes, he's our God, and we're the people he pastures, the flock he feeds. Drop everything and listen. Listen as he speaks. Don't turn a deaf ear as in the bitter uprising, as on the day of the wilderness test, when your ancestors turned and put me to the test. For 40 years they watched me at work among them, as over and over they tried my patience. And I was provoked. I was provoked. Can't they keep their minds on God for 5 minutes? Do they simply refuse to walk down my road? Exasperated, I exploded. They'll never get where they're headed, never be able to sit down and rest. Our Old Testament reading today comes from the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verses 1 through 13. God looks into the heart is the heading. God addressed Samuel. So how long are you going to mope over Saul? You know I've rejected him as king over Israel. Fill your flask with anointing oil and get going. I'm sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I spotted the very king I want among his sons. I can't do that, said Samuel. Saul will hear about it and kill me. God said, take a heifer with you and announce, I've come to lead you in worship of God, with the heifer as a sacrifice. Make sure Jesse gets invited. I'll let you know what to do next. I'll point out the one you are to anoint. Samuel did what God told him. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the town fathers greeted him, but apprehensively. Is there something wrong? Nothing's wrong. I've come to sacrifice this heifer and lead you in worship of God. Prepare yourselves, be consecrated, and join me in worship. He made sure Jesse and his sons were also consecrated and called us to worship. When they arrived, Samuel took one look at Eli and thought, here he is, God's anointed. But God told Samuel, looks aren't everything. Don't be impressed with his looks and stature. I've already eliminated him. God judges persons differently than humans do. Men and women look at the face. God looks into the heart. Jesse then called up Abinadab and presented him to Samuel. And Samuel said, this man isn't God's choice either. Next, Jesse presented Shammah. Samuel said, no, this man isn't either. Jesse presented his 7 sons to Samuel. Samuel was blunt with Jesse, and God hasn't chosen any of these. Then he asked Jesse, is this it? Aren't there no more sons? Well, Yes, there's the runt. He's out tending our sheep. Samuel ordered Jesse, go get him. We're not moving from this spot until he's here. Jesse sent for him. He was brought in the very picture of health, bright-eyed and good-looking. And God said, up on your feet, anoint him, this is the one. Samuel took his flask of oil and anointed him. With his brothers standing and watching, the Spirit of God entered David like a rush of wind, God vitally empowering him for the rest of his life. Samuel left and went home to Ramah. Our New Testament reading today comes from the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5, verses 1 through 5. Here we go. He'll promote you at the right time. I have a special concern for you church leaders. I know what it's like to be a leader, in on Christ's suffering as well as the coming glory. Here's my concern, that you care for God's flock with all the diligence of a shepherd. Not because you have to, but because you want to please God. Not calculating what you can get out of it, but acting spontaneously. Not bossily telling people what to do, but tenderly showing them the way. When God, who is the best shepherd of all, comes in and open with his rule, he'll see that you've done it right and commend you lavishly. And you who are younger must follow your leaders. But all of you, leaders and followers alike, are to be down to earth with each other. For God has had it with the proud, but takes delight in just plain people. And here ends our readings for the day.